Welcome to the latest edition of our Seafood News Weekly Roundup show, brought to you by Urner COMTELL. I'm Urner and SeafoodNews.com editor Michael Ramsing, coming to you from another cloudy day here in Toms River, New Jersey. There's plenty of pollen around, and Memorial Day is right around the corner, but it still doesn't quite feel like spring here yet in the Northeast. And before we get going, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially mine. Hi, Mom. Also, happy birthday to Jemmy Chadwick behind me. Anyway, it's been a very busy week for news and market activity around the seafood industry since our last broadcast, and we start today's program with some industry stories reported from SeafoodNews.com. First, in Canada, Ocean Choice International announced a successful buyout of its minority partner, Landvis Canada Incorporated. Martin Sullivan and Blaine Sullivan are now the sole owners of the operation they helped co-found. The Sullivans spent years trying to negotiate a refinancing deal, which eventually turned into a major dispute with Landvis for control of the company. In other Canadian company news, Highliner Foods acquired all the assets to vertically integrated shrimp importer Rubicon Resources for $107 million. Rubicon has a corporate headquarters in Culver City, California, and also operates over 11 shrimp and seafood processing facilities in Southeast Asia. Rubicon produces shrimp and seafood products for private label brands in the U.S. retail market. Highliner's president and CEO Keith Decker described the purchase as an ideal acquisition since it provides sales and earnings growth and diversifies Highliner's offerings into shrimp, which is experiencing strong growth rates in the North American market. Meanwhile, Bumble Bee Foods agreed to plead guilty for its role in a conspiracy to fix the prices of shelf-stable tuna fish like canned and pouched tuna. As part of the deal, Bumble Bee agreed to pay a $25 million criminal fine. The company's guilty plea is actually just the latest deal the Department of Justice has cut with Bumble Bee. In December, 2 executives for the company pleaded guilty for their participation in the price-fixing scheme. Neither the executives nor Bumble Bee have specifically named any co-conspirators involved in the scheme. Finally, in some political news, Chris Oliver, the executive director of the Alaska-based North Pacific Fisheries Management Council, has been offered and has accepted the position of Assistant Administrator of National Marine Fisheries Service. A tentative start date is Monday, June 19th of this year. Now, this appointment is not final and is still subject to the White House vetting and approval process, which could take weeks. However, industry rumors and the need for a transition plan prompted the announcement. If this is confirmed, it would be excellent news for the entire U.S. seafood industry, as it would give stability and deep experience to the fisheries service at a time of significant budget and regulatory review. Next up, we'll talk about several market reports around the industry, but we'll pause with a reminder that all of the stories you just heard were first reported on SeafoodNews.com. Head over to shop.urnerberry.com or call us at 732-240-5330 to start your daily email subscription to SeafoodNews.com, which now includes our semi-weekly series of commodity species emails. We sent out a shrimp newsletter this week with some really great analysis on U.S. imports and refusals, Ecuadorian exports, and that big Highliner deal. As for today's top story, we're going to jump around the seafood markets with some analysis pieces powered by Urner COMTELL. First up is a report of a surge in Atlantic scallop landings in March that has prices at auction falling faster and harder than expected. These factors have combined to drag down prices in the wholesale market in the first week of May. Landings are more than double the monthly figure from last March and were 51% higher from the 5-year monthly average for the fishery. This has caused prices at auction to fall more sharply than usual. Urner quotations for domestic 1020 IQF scallops are now falling at a similar clip, as the market has dropped $1.50 per pound in the first week of May. Harvesters are reporting a strong biomass in the open areas, which is resulting in higher than anticipated pounds per day. An upcoming landings report from federal observers will provide supply information for the month of April. Meanwhile, slow lobster landings in Canada have hit a wave of demand. This has pushed up competition at the wharf and prices to harvesters ahead of the Mother's Day weekend. Word on the docks is that there is now fierce competition between processing plant buyers and live dealers. Lack of supplies and a very strong live demand is going to impact meat and tail markets later this summer, say traders. Last year, high prices in the Gulf in May and June set up a disastrous year for processors, many of whom lost money when the price of tails failed to cover the costs of these purchases. Currently, the price of 4-ounce American lobster tails has recovered somewhat compared to May of last year, but the depressed tail price last year was largely a result of inventories of tails that existed going into the spring season. That is not the case this year, so the market is likely to be much more responsive to raw material costs. Turning to salmon, Japan is getting price out of the Alaskan sockeye market because of strong U.S. demand. Japanese traders are compelled to buy above their market costs if they accept the prices proposed by U.S. packers. Traders point out that the Japanese cannot keep up with the U.S. prices because the current level of salmon products distributed in Japan do not meet the raw material costs. At the same time, it is highly probable that the prices of Bristol Bay sockeye this season will exceed last year's level. Finally, we have a report from the 9th China International Shrimp Industry Development Forum, which was held during the Asia-Pacific Aquaculture Expo in mid-April. Several notable industry representatives from the world's major shrimp producers spoke at the conference about future shrimp production trends around the world. In India, the growth of shrimp production is up 46%, which has made India the world's largest producer in recent years. This has prompted Indian producers to step up domestic seed production, which is now expected to reach 51 billion shrimp seed by the end of this year. Indian shrimp accounted for over 25% of all U.S. shrimp imports in the first quarter of 2017. Meanwhile, Ecuadorian shrimp production has tripled in the last 6 years, according to Jose Campuzano, the president of Ecuador's Chamber of National Aquaculture. Ecuadorian shrimp sales to the Chinese market have increased substantially over the last several years, as Chinese buyers prefer the head-on product that Ecuador prefers to produce. Ecuador expects to sell 50% of its white shrimp production to the Chinese market this year. This is cut into the U.S. share of Ecuadorian imports. As for China, expectations are that it will emerge as the world's largest shrimp importer by the end of this year as consumer demand for shrimp continues to grow and outpace domestic production. China is expected to increase its shrimp purchases from Vietnam, India, and other key global suppliers. And that is it for today's show. You know, all of that great analysis we just talked about was powered by Urner COMTELL. If you're a seafood trader in the U.S. market and you don't have access to this market intelligence platform, you might as well be a hockey player with no stick or a carpenter with no hammer and nails. You see, COMTELL is the best tool for seafood traders to do business with. COMTELL subscribers get daily market-moving news, quotations, and the expert commentary that they need to make the best buying and selling decisions possible. It's also the largest historical database of seafood market price information available to the industry. So do yourself and your business a favor and sign up today at shop.urnerberry.com or call us directly at 732-240-5330. As always, you can tell us how we're doing on Twitter by tweeting at us at SeafoodComNews and at UBSeafood, and you can like Urner Berry and Seafood News on Facebook to learn more about what we're up to. For Urner Berry and Seafood News, I'm Michael Ramsing. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here, same time, same place next week. In the meantime, be especially kind to your mothers this weekend. Happy trading, and remember to sign into COMTELL for the latest market news and quotations. See you all next week.